HLookups are structured very similarly to VLOOKUPs, except that the values that we're looking up in our table array are organized in a row instead of in a column. These four parameters in their order should look familiar. We first have the lookup value. That's simply the value we want to find in the table array. The second parameter is the table array itself. The third parameter here is the row index number. That is, in our table, is it the first row, second row, third row, fourth row? Where is the value that you want returned when you find the lookup value? And then the fourth is that range lookup. Again, is it an approximate match or not? Again, we're constrained that the lookup values have to be in the first row. Okay, let's check out our first example. So here we have some products, and associated with those products are code, the location, and the list price. Below, we have customers that have ordered a certain product, and we need to get the price out from our lookup table right here. Of course, we're going to use product code to find the product and the corresponding list price. And so here, because those product codes are organized in a single row, we'll be using an HLookup instead of a VLOOKUP. Okay, why don't you go ahead and try to write this formula yourself. Okay, welcome back. Did you get it? Hopefully so. Let's go ahead and write it together. I'll say HLookup. What is our lookup value? Well, that's this product code. And since I'm only copying one direction, it'll be fine here. There's not multiple rows or columns I'll be copying to. If I wanted to, though, I could simply lock in the row. What is the table range and values? Well, I'll select everything here that I want, starting with the product code and the attributes. I'll make that absolute. What's my row index? Well, this is the first, second, third row contains the list price. And can it be an approximate match? No, it cannot. And we'll say false, and we get 10,000 for that one. And if we copy over here, we should get the appropriate values. Go ahead and hit the $ here, format those, and maybe make them look a little bit more similar. So let's check this out. Quick sanity check. 223-9 is 10,000. That looks like what we got. How about the 733-4? Looks like that's $3. Okay, perfect. $500 for this CLAT 636-1, etc. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about those. All right, let's go ahead and go down to this next example. Okay, here we have a 5K race registration, and we have different groupings for the time allowed. This is by male and female, and it's also by age, as you can see here. So let's say we're female in our 30s, then our 5K would allow us 29 minutes. So what we'd like to do here is to add the time allowed for each of these genders and age groups. Go ahead and see if you can figure this one out. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, welcome back. Were you able to get it? If not, what problems did you run into? Well, the biggest decision you have to make is what are you actually looking up and what is your lookup table? Okay, let's go ahead and start. We'll say equals HLookup here. So are we going to be looking up the age group or the gender? Well, here we'll actually be looking up the gender. Why do I say that? Well, maybe it's because that's here on a horizontal row and we're on HLookup. All right, that's the easy way out. Let's go ahead and write it that way, and I'll show you why that works in this case. We'll go ahead and look up gender then. And in this case, we'll go ahead and just lock in the column. So what's our table here? Well, this one's a little bit tricky, and I'll show you that we can actually kind of get away with doing some tricky things if we select the whole range, including the headers here. I'll go ahead and make that absolute. What is my row index number? I'm going to use the age group for that. And since I've selected the header, and since this starts at age 20 to 29 would be a group 2, according to these values here. Then we'll actually go down 1, 2 rows if it's 2. If it's 5, as in this case, we'll go down 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th row down is what we'll select. So we'll go ahead and just lock in that column. We don't really need to, but we'll do that. And does it have to be an exact match? Yes, it does. The male or the female needs to match exactly there. We'll go ahead and end that up. And we'll copy these down, and then we'll do a quick sanity check. Okay, so here we have male in group 5. So that's 50 to 59. So male in group 5, 35. That looks right. Let's come down here. Female in group 2. Female in group 2 is 26. That looks right. All right, I think we actually have done it using that little trick. Now, if you only selected the data, of course, you could take the age group and subtract 1 off that so that you realign it with what your data is expecting. Okay, so VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, not too big of a deal.